Hi, my name is Sophia and I'm a highly sensitive person. I learned that I'm highly sensitive here on YouTube during COVID. Then I watched a lot of videos about mental health. A young woman from the Netherlands who created a channel, Simple Happy 10, talked about her experience of being highly sensitive. It sounds to me very similar to my own experience, and I thought maybe I'm also highly sensitive, and this explains a lot of stuff that was going on in my life at that point. Why I suffered so much because of noise, or why I get tired so easily, why I can't do long hours, why I don't really like parties and loud concerts. And so these things became clear to me just because I realized that I'm highly sensitive. And in this video, I would like to propose for you to do a self-test and to check if you're also highly sensitive. So we'll take the self-test from the book written by a psychologist, Elaine Aron, who specialized on high sensitivity, and she researched high sensitivity for years. It's her PhD work, I think. And we'll do the self-test in the following way. I will read the statements and will give you some examples from my own experience. There will be some 23 statements to which you can agree or disagree and say true or false for you. I seem to be aware of subtleties in my environment. For me, it's certainly true. I'll give you some examples. One of them is just happened recently. We were visiting our friends who now living in the Victorian house with many fireplaces. And we decided to make a fire, and we collected some wood, but the wood was wet and we made a lot of smoke but no fire. And we were just sitting and chatting. At a certain point, I heard a certain, very low and quiet hissing noise. And I turned around and I saw that there is a log in the fireplace igniting. That was so amazing. Nobody actually noticed this noise. And I was the first one who noticed this thing. And now example. I'm always the first person who noticed if our boiler is broken. I remember I went in the room where my partner sitting and playing games, and he didn't notice this. But I noticed because of this strange, weird silence in the room that never been here, actually. Other people's moods affect me. That's absolutely true. My partner was depressed for several years, and I also was worrying about him, and I was down, really also kind of depressed. I tend to be very sensitive to pain. Yes, or sometimes, let's say, I don't really know how other people react to the same level of pain, so I don't really know with what to compare. Perhaps yes. I find myself needing to withdraw during busy days into bed or into a darkened room or in any other place where I can have some privacy and relief from stimulation. That's something that I would love to do, but I've never done it before because I tend to push myself to work hard, to be social, to go socializing, to do things. And perhaps I should do it sometimes. Just really withdraw, because I remember then I worked in the office, sometimes there were days when especially Wednesdays, like in the middle of the week, then I wanted to stay at home and work from home, not to go to the office. So perhaps I shouldn't. I'm particularly sensitive to the effects of caffeine. That's absolutely true. I don't really like coffee, it makes me anxious, and it doesn't really help with work. In the morning or in the afternoon, it just stressed me. I am easily overwhelmed by things like bright lights, strong smells, coarse fabrics, or sirens close by. That's absolutely true. I hate loud noises. I hate smells like really strong perfumes. I have allergies to some really strong laundry detergents. I really have a lot of allergies related to smells, so I don't like them. I have a rich, complex inner life. I would say so. I can't call myself a writer, so I published several books in my own language. I did art school. I'm a scholar, perhaps, yes. I'm made uncomfortable by loud noises. That's true. As I said, yeah, loud noises stress me out or make me so tired, let's say. If I'm exposed to loud noises or noises at all for a long period, so I'm getting tired easily. I talked about it, by the way, in my video, my first video. I'll put it somewhere here then for you to watch my experience of some noisy working environments. I am deeply moved by the arts or music. Yes, as I said, I did art school. I like to go to the art galleries and to really see art. I'm not a musician at all. I didn't pass my exam to the musical school. We'll talk about it later. But I'm not exactly tune deaf, and I don't do any music. I'm a pretty bad singer, but I'm just enjoying it. I like it. I like some type of music. I'm conscientious. That's absolutely true. When I was a kid, I was that schoolgirl who always had her homework done. I was never was like a perfect student who got all high grades all the time, but I was just good student, very conscientious. I startle easily. That's true. God, I remember my husband went to my studio and I was listening to the music in the headphones. And he just called me. I didn't hear, and he touched me on the shoulder, and I didn't expect him being there. I startled that I even jumped. I get rattled. Then I have a lot to do in a short amount of time. Yes, I get overwhelmed, and I don't like to do many things to one deadline. When people are uncomfortable in a physical environment, I tend to know what needs to be done to make it more comfortable, like changing the lighting or sitting. Yeah, so I'm concerned about the well being of people around me. And I'm usually asked if I can help with something if a person looks unwell or just tired or just uncomfortable. I'm annoyed then people try to get me to do too many things at once. I'm certainly not the person who like multitasking. No, hate it. I'm annoyed because I felt so overwhelmed and I felt like I can't really do all these things at once. I try hard to avoid making mistakes or forgetting things. Yes, yes, absolutely. I hate mistakes. I write or research for something for a project. I try to double check facts, double check details in my articles. My dissertation was a constant checking all the things. So I hate forgetting things. I usually blame myself for forgetting something or losing something like umbrellas or I don't know, hats or whatever. I make it a point to avoid violent movies or TV shows. I'm not sure I made it a point because we watch sometimes thrillers and some superhero movies, but I usually kind of close my eyes, then I see some violence. I become unpleasantly aroused, then a lot of is going on around me. Yeah, so I tend to escape when this situation is happening because I felt anxiety in my body, like a tensions. And I felt highly uncomfortable in the situation. Then, in the busy office, then a lot of people talking at the same time. So it's just a lot. It's too much. Being very hungry creates a strong reaction in me, disrupting my concentration or mood. True, usually I have my lunch slightly early than majority of people. So I have my lunch like 11:30 or something about in between 11 and 12. Because I know that by 1 p.m. I would be so hungry that I can't really work, and it certainly disrupts my concentration. That's true. Changes in my life shakes me up. Yes, but it also depends negatively or positively. Usually, I like changes. I like moving countries. I like removals. I like these kind of big life changes and small also, but they are kind of planned and I'm kind of prepared for them. Maybe she means like unplanned changes. I don't know, but they certainly shake me up in the positive way. I notice and enjoy delicate or fine scents, tastes, sounds, works of art. That's true. I love being in nature and noticing these delicate things growing around. I love trips through the woods, and I like to go to the art galleries. As I said, I enjoy classical music, and I was such a concert goer. Then I was a student, and I had free tickets for all concerts, so it was really good time. I make it a high priority to arrange my life to avoid upsetting and overwhelming situations. I didn't make it a high priority because, as I mentioned, I tend to push myself to work hard and to be social. But perhaps I should sometimes avoid some overwhelming situations. But I also know that avoiding some situations or other situations also creates a certain, let's say, as if you lose the possibility of being there and getting in touch with some people you want to be in touch. It's also the thing to think about if you avoid some certain situations. Then I must compete or be observed while performing a task. I become so nervous and shaky that I do much worse than I would otherwise. That's true. I remember myself passing that music exam that I decided to talk to you about. It was a disaster. I didn't make it through because my mom was standing behind the shoulder of my teacher, my examiner, and watching me. And the examiner was watching me, and I was just a small kid. I didn't have any skills to deal with this situation. I didn't really focus on what she's playing. And this is why I didn't make it in the music class. And I was considered as a tune deaf for a long time before I discovered I wasn't really a tune deaf person, but I was just a very average musician, let's say. Then I was a child. My parents or teachers seemed to see me as sensitive or shy. Yes and not. I would say I was called shy in more adult age, later in life, by some other people, not my parents. My mom certainly considered me as a quiet child, but not shy. Perhaps I became shyer, let's say, in my teens, but I wasn't called shy by my parents. So that's it. If you had 12 or at least 12 or more questions asked true for you, you're certainly a highly sensitive person. But even if less, you may be a highly sensitive person as well. So you see how many I had. I'm certainly a highly sensitive person. If you want to know about high sensitivity and how to live with that, subscribe to this channel and follow along. See ya in the next videos.